This is the voice of freedom. We are not one voice. We are many. We are your voice. But we can only be effective if you use your voice. Your voice. This is the voice of freedom. We will not hide from the truth. We will ask the hard questions until we are sure we have the truth. Welcome to the voice of freedom, where your voice will never be silenced.
Hello, folks. Just a quick one to let you know tonight's Friday night free-for-all isn't going to happen on YouTube. We're going to have some interesting conversations tonight. I'd like to keep the YouTube channels alive. So we're going to do it all on Rumble at 6:30 tonight. Now, I will post another one of these links in YouTube, and in the description, there will be the link to the Rumble channel if you don't already have it bookmarked or you don't know where to find it. So this is just to let you know that the Friday night free-for-all tonight will be a Rumble-only show. Now, Chris and Bob are going to join me. They've been on, they kicked off the year and ended the last year, I think, too. But they do have some interesting stuff. Bob, particularly tonight, is going to take us in on a bit of a deep dive on what government do and some of the nefarious actions governments take. He's been involved in the military for many years, and he'll bring us up to date with what he's seen and whatnot in that. Chris will no doubt have an interesting story for us. A triangular cloud in a perfectly blue sky at the end of his street. That's going to be a bit interesting. We'll also have John Wilson joining us. Now, the old pirate himself has been pretty busy this week, so looking forward to catching up with him and seeing exactly what's going to come out of his mouth tonight. And on Rumble, it could well just about be bloody anything. So that's going to be happening from 6:30 tonight, Queensland time. That's Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Everybody else figure it out from yourself around there. But 7:30 for Eastern Daylight Savings Time. And if you're in any of those half an hour forward, half an hour back kind of states, God help you, we love you. You figure it out for yourself. Or watch it all in replay. Happening tonight, 6:30. I will post another one of these up in YouTube a little later on. It will have the link to tonight's Rumble channel in it, in the description. I just had to do this one first before I can generate that. That's the whole point of it. So thanks, folks. Great to have you around. G'day, Paul. You must work as hard as I do, mate. Hi, Melissa, Neville, Andrew, Black Sheep, you're around, mate. Thank you for that interesting viewing tip you gave me last night. Very interesting indeed. I did enjoy it. Sunflower, you wonderful thing. Yes, no censorship tonight on Rumble. You won't be able to give me any money either, but, we're not in it for that. Tonight's stuff, believe me, what Bob's got to tell you tonight is going to blow your socks off. Absolutely blow your socks off. I've had a couple of interesting conversations today. Haven't heard back as far as I know, but I haven't checked my email about Ricardo Bosi for next week. I have locked in Spiros for next week. So a quick word on what's going on with Spiros. We're getting Sharia's being hammered a fair bit regarding Spiros's class action. People want to know what's going on with it, yada, yada, yada. Of course, you've been involved. You've put your $100 in. You are involved. Settle down, folks. A lot of people just did all that just before Christmas, and the legal profession were partying for the 3 weeks before Christmas and have only just finished partying over their Christmas, New Year break. They've only really returned to work. So don't be expecting huge, great strides in the last few weeks. And as the old saying goes, the law moves exceedingly slowly, but it grinds or leaves an exceedingly fine grist after it mills its way through it. That's exactly what's happening. So we're in phase one of this class action. When I say we, I mean Spiros is in phase one of this class action. That is gathering all of you together and establishing exactly what losses there are. That's what we've got to fight for first, to establish what losses there are. Then the next step is taking that forward. So I would expect the next, at least couple of months will be involved in gathering people who want to be part of this class action. And then moving on from there. Thank you, Sunflower. I didn't drop that hint just so you could do that. I apologize if that's the way it came across. So we don't have to worry too much about that end of it at the moment, I don't think. Oh, that's somebody ringing me and I can't reach the phone to turn it off. So there you go, bad luck. I will get back to you all very shortly on that. Just, as I say, quick one tonight to let you know that John Wilson will be on the show. He'll kick us off at 6:30. I'm also going to try and get a hold of the lovely Melissa Palmer, who is, not Melissa, what am I saying? Michelle Palmer. Now, Michelle's from Binnaburra down in the Blue Mountains. We'll be going there to do a My Place show in the not too distant future. We're going to get her on to have a bit of a talk about it. She's only got a very small My Place, but it's a wonderful, wonderful venue, and she's really, really put her heart into it. So we're going to have a bit of a talk about that tonight. And she is in a singing show. Well, she's going to be singing on the 21st of January from memory. It's not a singing contest, like I said last night. It's just a show. But if you want to go along and see her sing and you're in Sydney, Albion Park is where she'll be on the 21st at the Summer Love Festival. So we're going to talk about that too. And I don't know whether or not she can sing something unaccompanied and self-written. Maybe we'll get a tune out. Oh, hang on, we're on Rumble. She can sing whatever she likes on Rumble. Might have to have a bit of a chat with her about that. So, yeah. Live chat on Rumble. Okay. That's a very good question, Mark. It doesn't come up in the StreamYard chat, I'm pretty confident. However, that just means I need to open something else, maybe my iPad, so that I can see the questions coming through in there. Or possibly if I get the Galactic Larrikins involved, they might be able to keep an eye on that for me and ask some of those questions. I'll see what they're doing tonight and go from there. Yes, unfortunately, on Rumble using StreamYard, I'm just wondering then if I need to use StreamYard, if I just go through the Rumble, won't have any of the stuff I can play. Let me think about that. But yes, certainly something we need to work on there. I'll need at least, I think, for tonight to have another screen open on the Rumble channel to see the comments. But I'll endeavour to do that. Might have to go down and buy a screen. The iPad might work. We'll see how it goes. The iPad's a bit shaky at the moment. It's I think, going on 8 or 9 years of age, and the screen is giving up. And guess what? They're not making screens for that model anymore. Love the bastards. Is George Pell's death a good sign for the Alliance? I think there's a lot of people who would suggest that George Pell's death is a good thing, full stop. I think that's probably being a little bit disingenuous. George Pell wound up, I believe, in part in the troubles that he did here in Australia because he discovered millions and millions and millions of dollars being stolen from Vatican accounts. He was conducting an investigation. He'd already conducted a preliminary investigation and had found that another cardinal, an Italian cardinal, was more than likely responsible for a great deal of this. And they were able to track where the money had gone. It was used to buy very expensive accommodations in London and I think somewhere in Nice, which is the south of France. Very expensive places, at least, and they were buying real estate with it, amongst other things. They were using it as a black money program to pay for things that certain groups within the Vatican, certain factions within the Catholic religion, think Opus Dei and others, would have access to that main Vatican financial sources knew nothing about. So George Pell discovered all of that and started blowing the whistle very loudly. Unfortunately for George Pell, putting aside anything that happened with the priests in Australia and hiding Catholic priests and pedophilia, that is a separate matter for the moment. Aside from that, he was going after the church to expose, well, not after the church, but he was going after the people within the church that were ripping it off. Unfortunately for him, he didn't realize that the Pope was sitting at the head of that. So when he reported, I dare say confidentially to the Pope that this sort of stuff was happening, his world fell apart because all of a sudden he's hauled back to Australia on these pedophilia charges and yada, 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 yada. Now, I grew up in the era in Victoria, in the area, not in the church, but in the area, in the same town, where a number of those pedophile priests had been hidden or allowed to keep working. George Pell had come to our town. He was obviously a Catholic, and he was a bishop at the time. I was Church of England. So, but whenever a bishop came to town, we all sort of rolled out and had a bit of a look. Yes, there were kids that were damaged in my town by the pedophile priest, and in Warrnambool, very close to where we lived. So I do know some of the background to it. I've got to say, it's a long, long time ago. I remember the ruckus at the time where all this was starting to be exposed, but I, to be honest, don't remember too much of the specifics of it. So you won't hear me commenting too much about the ins and outs of George Pell and his pedophile case. I don't believe that the case in Victoria that was put against him could have ever have held water if the state government hadn't have supported it in the way they did. There is no evidence. There was no real proof. In fact, half the witnesses reneged on their stories. So there was something of a witch hunt going on there, I believe. Does that mean that he was never involved, or that he didn't hide those pedophile priests in other parishes or send them off to, some sort of pedophile priest retirement place? I don't know. If he was part of all of that, then yes, that is despicable. I guess you can only make decisions based on the time, and I would ask people who are critical of historical decisions to bear in mind that a decision, how would you like a decision that you made today, which was an uncomfortable decision to make, but, you had to choose the best of both worlds, or, I don't know, however you make it. How would you like to have that decision re-examined 30 years into the future through a new lens of experience, through a new lens of social discourse, or through a new lens of social media? I guarantee you the decisions we make today will not survive that scrutiny in 30 years' time unless we are thinking forward. We're thinking to 30 years ahead plus. So bear that in mind when you are casting aspersions about George Pell. I have no love of pedophiles and no love of people that protect pedophiles. If he did that, then all well and good. Did he die on the table getting a hip surgery? I don't know. It'd be a way of letting him go out while retaining something of his reputation. As, of course, the High Court restored his reputation. 7-0 the decision was that they support his appeal. And they were scathing of the Victorian Department of Public Prosecutions and the Victorian government when they handed down that finding. The case should have never have got to court. It's that simple, in many people's view. I don't know enough about it to comment, and frankly, he's dead now. Let's put it to bed. If we're pedophile hunting, that's one less we have to hunt. Let's put it that way. But there are more out there. There are a lot more out there. There are a lot more hidden in plain sight, and a lot more famous than George Pell. So let's get off the dead. Let's focus on the living ones and see what we can find there. Fiona Barnett claims, where did that go? Dom. Fiona Barnett claims he attended a satanic mass in Bendigo and George Pell witnessed the sacrifice of a 6-year-old girl. Yep, that could well be possible. I attended, I could tell you I attended something once and watched the pig fly over before it inserted itself on the spit and we ate it later. Would you believe me? Unless I had pictures of it. Okay, very hard to get pictures of satanic rites. That's not to say we do not believe people without pictures, but we need more supporting evidence. Just saying it, okay, that opens up a door. But how many more people were at that satanic mass? How many more people can we get? We don't need them all. We just need a few to confirm what's going on there. So, yeah. Look, you don't get to wear the red shoes in the Catholic Church and not know what's going on. Okay? I think that's pretty plain and obvious for all. Maybe he got cold feet when he got to the Vatican. Maybe he was just, pretty pissed off that one of their black-hearted members was stealing money from the black-hearted member group and using it for his own personal gain or power plays. That could well be the thing. He wasn't doing it out of any altruistic feelings that he had about priests ripping off the people who donate money every Sunday, who tithe on a regular basis, and wonder where that money goes and what they do with it. Well, as it turns out, it goes out to pedophile priests' penthouse paradises, by the sound of it. Places in the south of France, places in the heart of London City, places in Washington, D.C. Does all this start ringing a bell with what they're buying, folks? Yeah. It's a bloody ugly world. And the bastards in the Vatican have a lot to answer for. So, yeah, there is no, I don't care. Pell's gone. Let's move on. There's more to catch. Lisa Marie Presley has died. That's the big news this afternoon. If you hadn't heard that, she's suffered a major heart attack at some stage overnight, was found unresponsive in her house by a maid or a cleaner. The ex-husband, who still shares the house with her, did CPR on her for as long as required until the ambos turned up. They continued that. They got her to, I think it was the Sinai in Los Angeles, but unfortunately she has passed away. So that's sad news for the Presley household, and only a couple of days before Elvis's birthday. Isn't Elvis's birthday the 16th of January? I've got a feeling. Maybe I'm wrong. Might have been. It's in January, though, from memory. See, it's been a while since I've been on gold type radio stations. I guess that's the easiest way of saying that. Have a bit of a look down the chat and see who's here asking questions. I'm so pleased that people in this chat are talking. And you say hello to each other. Can I just tell you, it's being noticed and mentioned to me by other people. We don't have a chat room, by and large, filled with trolls and numpties. We have a chat room filled with people like yourself, who's up for a conversation, who has developed, I guess, to a certain extent, as I have, certain friendships with people in this group. We enjoy coming on and having this time where we can chat together. And I've had it remarked to me now twice in the last 2 or 3 days, just how good the chats are in a Voice of Freedom chat room. So you guys need to be congratulated for that. I mean, having said that, now watch, we'll get a bunch of feral bloody trolls in here going hard. But, well, you know me and trolls, and the Galactic Larrikins have the don't piss me off or I'll piss you off permanently button in their control. I think they've got a fair idea of how I feel about that, don't you, boys? So that doesn't mean we're going to ban people who have a differing opinion. It's okay to have a differing opinion. Offer that different opinion respectfully, and you'll be heard. And if the opinion has facts to back it up, you'll be listened to, what's more, and possibly even acted on. But if you come in, shouting all your voluminous amounts of knowledge that you don't have, that you think you have, then I guess our chat room isn't the place for that. And I thank you, because you are the folks that make that a genuinely nice place to go, as somebody said to me yesterday. Your chat rooms are a great place to go. You can have a chat. You can listen to me drone on in the background, but, particularly for the women, I guess, because men can't do two things at the same time. It's great for the women because they can listen to what's going on, and they can also keep track of what's going on in the chat. As you can see, typical male, I cannot do both. If I have to look down here at the chat, I lose track of what I'm saying here. And most of what I say is ad lib, so I don't prepare notes, although I know I am getting lots of suggestions from some amongst you that I should, and I will. This year, my mission is to be a better presenter for you. I don't want people to be pissed off with the way I'm delivering things. If you're noticing more about me and the way I deliver things, then I'm doing it wrong. You should be noticing what I'm delivering, not me as such. That's my aim anyway. I'd like to blend into the background if that's the way we can do it. But yes, the ladies definitely have an advantage over the guys. They can do two things. In fact, they can do a lot more than two things at the same time. God love you all. And unfortunately, blokes can't. So, yeah, I probably need a few more girls looking after the chats, don't I? has back. It's all to do with you guys. The civility, the level of conversation, the level of questions, the level of help that is available to everybody in the chats is wonderful. So yes, I will figure out a way on Rumble where I can make sure I can see the chat tonight. So we will sort that out and make sure that if you have a question to John, it can be asked. And with a little bit of luck, we'll get an answer out of him. So I won't leave you too much longer, or I won't keep you too much longer. I've talked longer than I was going to anyway. This is the first. I'm going to do another one a little later on. It's going to be really short, but in it will be the link to the Rumble channel. I'll go away and set that up now. And once it's set up, we'll have the show set for 6:30 tonight, Eastern Daylight Savings Time, 7:30 Australian. No, yeah, right. 7:30 Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time and 6:30 Standard Time. You figure it out if you're in the half-hour states. Love your work, and we will see you in the not-too-distant future. Please be safe on the roads, folks. It's one of those days today. Friday, worst day on the road. For little bumper-to-bumpers in traffic and car shopping centres. There you go. Bad day to be in car shopping centres.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!